Hi there, Alan Hurd here from Hurd & Son. The reason for doing this little video for you is because we make butcher's blocks, end grain chopping butcher's blocks like this one, and we get asked, how do you look after them? Well, it's quite easy. The butcher's blocks are end grain, and then they've got a perimeter frame around them. Now, with them being end grain, they are naturally very absorbent to moisture. So what you've got to do from new when you receive your butcher's block is they'll already be sealed with one coat of Danish oil and a little bit of wax in it as well. Once you've got it, you want to put 2 or 3 or even 4 coats onto the top of it. One coat a day, next day wipe off the excess, another coat until you've got 5 coats on it. That will then last you for months, especially in a domestic environment. If it's in a butchery environment, you're going to have to be doing it once a month, something like that. Butchers know that they've got to scrape it with a wire brush to get any, let's say, meat or anything left out of the top of the grain out of it, and then they wash it down very lightly with warm water. But I must emphasise, don't put too much water on these. And the reason for that is that down here on the perimeter frame, you've got vertical grain coming this way, and then you've got the other grain going the opposite way. So what will happen is this wood will try and do that or that, which then creates a gap. Now, if you don't put too much water on them, that won't happen. But I've seen butchers chucking buckets of hot water over the top of them while they're scrubbing all the floors and all the rest of it. Tear my hair out, because that's not the way to go. Minimal amount of moisture on them, and if you do get them really dirty, or let's say you've got a little bit of mould growth through not using them very often, a wipe down with vinegar, or in a worst case scenario a bit of diluted bleach. We make these blocks in various timber. This particular one was made for a lady by myself, and she's had the oak from a tree in her garden that fell down in some high winds, and we slab cut it, and then we got it kiln dried, and then we've made it into the block that it is now. As you can see, it's traditionally made with the bolts that go all the way through the timber, and then they're capped off on the outside, and the same on there, they're bolted that way as well. We have made butcher's blocks out of teak, walnut, oak, as this one is, but more traditionally, years ago, they used to make them out of hornbeam, maple and sycamore. Now, we've kind of rejuvenated the sycamore idea because it's a homegrown timber, we don't have to import it from Canada, and it's naturally antiseptic, so it helps kill any bugs that do get into the surface of it. We make tables as well as the butcher's blocks. We make them in oak, like that, traditional with the metal upstands, base shelf, but we also make them in stainless steel, and by request we make them in alloy as well. It has been said that butcher's blocks were originally made, or let's say used, in China. A bit of a grey area because we don't know how far this all goes, but the Chinese used to cut down a tree, then cut a slab through the trunk, probably yay thick, something like that, and they'd use it because they found that any cleaver work on butchered meat worked better into end grain, as you'll probably know from trying to split logs if you've got a wood burner, that end grain naturally seals up again, whereas if you go across the grain, it will cut a V out of it, and eventually you'll get chips of wood in your meat. So that's it in a nutshell. If we can be of any more help to you, please give us a ring by all means. But what we really need to tell you is we make these butcher's blocks now in a different system. They look just the same as any other butcher's block, but none of our blocks can come loose. See, each one of these has got an individual block. Well, we use a lock block system. We've designed it, we implemented it into our blocks. So no one block can ever come loose from all of the rest. It's a bit of a well kept and protected idea, but we are, to our knowledge, the only company that provide this for a commercial or domestic butcher's block like this. Thanks for looking, see you next time.